The life and sad ending of Sammi Smith. Sammi Smith was born in Orange County, California in 1943, but spent her childhood in Oklahoma, Texas, Arizona, and Colorado. She dropped out of school at the age of 11 and began to sing professionally in nightclubs. She was 15 when she married Steel Guitar Hall of Fame and nightclub operator Bobby White. They had 3 children. She had her first divorce in 1966. She eventually had 2 more marriages. In 1967, Johnny Cash's bass player Marshall Grant discovered her singing in the Someplace Else nightclub in downtown Oklahoma City. After Grant's discovery, she moved to Nashville, Tennessee. When Johnny Cash learned of her talent, he helped her get signed with Columbia Records. Her first minor country hit was in 1968, titled So Long, Charlie Brown, Don't Look for Me Around. In 1971, she married her second husband, Jody Payne. They had 1 child, singer, actor, musician Waylon Payne. Help Me Make It Through the Night was Sammi Smith's career hit and the one that made her famous. She had been one of the rare women in the outlaw country movement sweeping country music in the 1970s. At this time, the country was moving in 2 directions: outlaw and a more mainstream pop sound. However, outlaw country would be short-lived, with the country taking on a distinctly pop cast by the end of the 70s. Smith would still remain with the outlaw sound throughout the 1970s. In 1970, Smith signed with a new label, Mega Records, and her first hit for her new label was called He's Everywhere, which made the top 25 on the country charts. In 1971, she struck gold with Help Me Make It Through the Night. The song immediately became a #1 hit on the country charts and #8 on the Billboard U.S. Pop Chart. It sold over 2 million copies and was awarded a gold disc by the RIAA in April 1971. At first, record companies were uncomfortable with the song's honest sexuality, which was new for country music, but DJs tested the song and the response from listeners was enormous. The song had been composed by Chris Christopherson, who had recorded the only other version of the song. After Smith's hit, the song was covered by Gladys Knight and the Pips and Elvis Presley. Both versions achieved more modest chart success. In 1972, Sammi Smith won a Grammy Award for Best Female Country Vocal Performance that year, and Christopherson took songwriting awards. The song made Smith and Christopherson household names in the music business. Critics David Cantwell and Bill Friskix Warren called Help Me Make It Through the Night a watershed event in the history of Nashville and country music and placed it at #1 in their book Heartaches by the Number: Country Music's 500 Greatest Singles. The dynamic country soul of the recording, thanks, for starters, to producer Jim Malloy and arranger Bill Walker, revealed the influences of a generation of Nashville music makers who had grown up listening not only to country music but also to rock and roll, jazz, pop, R&B, and even classical music, they wrote. A crossover smash, Help Me Make It Through the Night signaled country's belated arrival in the rock and soul era. After the success of her hit, Smith continued to have more success on the country charts. In 1973, Sammi moved to Dallas, Texas, with Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson to become a country outlaw. Smith continued to have an ongoing friendship with Jennings and Nelson for the rest of her life. Smith continued to have success with the Mega Records label until 1975. She reached Billboard's Hot Country Singles Top 10 twice after the success of Help Me Make It Through the Night with Then You Walk In and Merle Haggard's Today I Started Loving You Again, her last top 10 hits. In 1972, I've Got to Have You was a successful country hit, and it broke onto the pop charts at number 77. Smith continued to score top 40 country hits like The Rainbow in Daddy's Eyes and Long Black Veil. In 1976, after Mega Records closed its doors, Smith signed with Elektra Records and scored with several hits, including Sunday School to Broadway, Loving Arms, I Can't Stop Loving You, and Days That End in Y. In 1979, Smith made a successful comeback album on Cyclone Records called Girl Hero. The song What a Lie from that album became a top 20 country hit for Smith, peaking at number 16. She also recorded for Sound Factory Records during the early 1980s and scored her last top 20 in 1981 with Cheatin's A Two-Way Street. Her last charting single came in 1986 with Love Me All Over, which peaked at number 80 on Billboard's Hot Country Singles chart in 1986. After 1979, little was heard from Sammi Smith. She had moved to Arizona and became involved in Native American causes, working for Apaches. She also started her own band named Apache Spirit, which was made up of Native Americans. In the mid-1980s, she married her final husband Johnny Johnson, and they ran a cattle ranch in Bristow, Oklahoma. She did appearances on the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. She also toured Japan. She often brought her son Waylon Payne to guest star at the Opry. She also had a line of pottery, bath salts, and hand-painted ceramic tiles for the bathroom. In 1995, the compilation album The Best of Sammi Smith was released, which consisted of her big hit and many other various country politan songs. She had a total of 18 LPs during her career. On February 12, 2005, at the age of 61, Sammi Smith died at her home in Oklahoma City of emphysema. Her remains were buried in Guymon, Oklahoma, which she claimed was her hometown. A tribute album was released in her honor on September 26, 2006, titled Help Me Make It Through the Night, the memorial album.